It's lights out and we're racing in MotoGP here at the Chang International Circuit. Marco Bezzecchi's nailed that start from pole position here. He's going to get a drop on the field ahead of Marc Marquez on that run into the first corner. Ralph Fernandez slots ahead of Jorge Martin in P3. Fabio Di Giannantonio looking to avoid any turn 3 drama early on here as Martin tries to attack Fernandez on the run down into 3.
Yeah, Martin was the fast starter. Acosta is pretty much where he was, still in 6th place. He's sandwiched between Di Giannantonio and Alex Marquez, and Alex Marquez is going to nerf the championship leader aside.
Yeah, that's Acosta then, down 1 place, 6 into 7th. The field just about, a bit of a melee further back, have got safely and cleanly through that tricky turn 3. That's going to be music to the ears of Fabio Di Giannantonio, who finds himself in 5th.
That's Bagnaia coming through on Ayagura. Agura's had a really poor start. He's now out of the top 10.
Yeah, Agura then in 11th. Frankie Morbidelli is way down the order as well in 18th place. A poor start once again for the VR46 racing rider.
Ralph Fernandez just carved through on Marc Marquez through the right-hander of turn 7. We heard from Davide Tardozzi before the start began that through the right-handers physically, Marc Marquez potentially a little bit short of peak condition. Ralph Fernandez straight through into 2nd.
Bezzecchi's established an early lead here of almost 0.8 of a second. We saw yesterday he just bit up a little bit more than he could chew in the early part of the sprint with the early exit, but look at this from Bezzecchi. He's ploughing away from the field. Now Martin, we've got an Aprilia 1, 2, 3 to complete our first Grand Prix lap in 2026. It's fairy tale stuff this, falling in the Wally factory. Elbow to elbow go Marc and Martin. Marc gets back in front briefly into the first corner, but for a few split seconds there, the Nawali factory locked out the podium.
The Aprilia's attacking Marc Marquez from all angles. Fernandez through into 7, and then into turn 12, Martin attacking the rider who replaced him as world champion.
Bezzecchi versus Fernandez.
And still very early days, only lap 3 of 26, but Marc Marquez at this stage at least does not have an answer to the pace of the Aprilias. He's already 2 seconds off the race lead. We've only completed 3 laps. Martin looking to attack again. Acosta certainly attacking. This is the corner where he made all sorts of headlines yesterday, and Acosta clears to Giannantonio for 5th.
Yeah, there's no need for the stewards to be sharpening the pencils on that one. Fernandez is the fastest rider on circuit, slightly quicker. Both Bezzecchi and Fernandez exchange 1:30.6s. Marc Marquez still stuck in those 1:31s. Jorge Martin said yesterday when he was in the draft of Ayagura, he had issues managing and moderating that front tyre pressure. This is why he's going to get on with this on the inside of Marc Marquez. That's brilliant into turn 3. This is vintage Jorge Martin.
And Aprilia will be licking their lips at this. They now have a 1, 2 and 3. And I know it's still early days, but it's 88 Grand Prix in a row that Ducati have had a rider on the podium. Boy, is that now under some serious threat.
Now then, Acosta trying to work out a way through a Marc Marquez. We're heading to turn 12. Are we going to go again, boys, on the brakes into the last corner?
Surely Pedro Acosta knows what's coming here. Surely Marc Marquez knows what's coming here. 37 versus 93 for the 2nd day in a row. And Pedro Acosta gets the better of Marc Marquez, who's now down into 5th position.
Have we ever, even when he was on a Gresini Ducati, seen Marc Marquez picked off like he has been at the start of this Grand Prix? He just does have no answer as it stands right now. Is Marc just sort of managing and nursing his pace, saving a bit of energy? We know that he's still struggling to recover that right shoulder he injured in Mandalika back to 100% fitness. Oh, he charges in there a little bit hot, slipstream, a bit of draft picked up behind Pedro Acosta. Acosta had a good look to his right there just to make sure that there was nobody maybe coming onto the inside line. Back on board with Acosta. Feels like he's a little bit closer this time around to attack Martin. Yes, he certainly is. Just nicks that inside line ahead of his fellow Spaniard, but he runs in a little bit hot. Surely on the cutback, Martin's going to seize that 3rd place back. He does indeed. We saw that a few times yesterday, didn't we? Between Marc Marquez and Pedro Acosta. It just shows you how hard it is to pass on these modern-day MotoGP bikes, laden with aero and downforce. Martin just knew there, if he cut back to the inside line, there was no way Acosta was going to make it.
Well, Acosta might make it this time. We know that Aprilia is a little faster in a straight line now in 2026. Once again, though, Acosta goes in hot, and that's bringing Marc Marquez right into play. I don't think Pedro Acosta's losing any hope of chasing after the top 2, but frustration must be building here as he just cannot clear Martin.
Martin's braking that late that he knows, but if you're braking as late as me, you ain't stopping. You're going to run wide, so I'll just release the brake and cut back to the inside line. Acosta then and Marc ganging up behind Martin. This is making life somewhat more comfortable and easier for Raul Fernandez, although it's never easy to muscle a MotoGP bike around this 4.5 kilometre Chang International Circuit in these kind of searing hot tropical conditions. Acosta will make the move again, won't he? He's just lining this up. Make sure that he's hugging Martin's rear tyre through 9, 10 and 11. Less than half a metre between Martin's rear tyre and Acosta's front tyre. Bit of a twist there on the gas coming out of 9, but now surely there'll be another raid on the inside from Acosta on the brakes into 12. How good is Martin this time around on the front end of the Aprilia? I think Acosta's going to go in a little bit hot. He is once again. He has done a phenomenal job to get it stopped. Thought he was going to run off circuit at one point there. Side by side we go. It's almost 3 abreast between Marc Acosta and Martin. Some battle this for third.
Well, Jorge Martin was under intense race-long pressure here 3 years ago when he won the Grand Prix of Thailand. This time it's for third place at a podium that would mean so much for Jorge Martin after the year and a half he's been through. Acosta attacks again on the inside into turn 3. He's just going to try and hang Martin out to dry, and now Marc Marquez is getting involved.
Well, that's now, what, 3 or 4 times that Acosta has found a way through on Martin, albeit very briefly. Oh, look at this now as they power through the gearbox, over the blind crest, now into 6th. Out of all of it, Marc Marquez went into turn 3, 5th. He's now in P3.
He's got his brain in gear, even if his shoulder isn't necessarily at 100%. Brilliant presence of mind and tactics from Marc Marquez. Was able to watch all that unfold up ahead of him and just picked his perfect line through, and he's now back into the podium positions.
Yeah, and he's now under pressure from another turn 12 assault from Acosta, isn't he? Acosta goes earlier. He's not even waiting for turn 12. Immediately, he attacks Marc going through 8.
This is Pedro Acosta sending a serious message for the 2nd day in a row to Marc Marquez. Any opportunity I get, I am coming through. I don't care how many World Championships you've won. Toprak's going well though, the quartet of Yamahas together, so Toprak's running similar lap times as the trio ahead of him. There's around about 2 seconds covering the 4 Yamahas, so Toprak definitely not being dropped by Quartararo, Miller and Rins. The field though being dropped here by Marco Bezzecchi, whose lead is 2.5 seconds now over Raul Fernandez. Acosta might well have that 3rd place under control then over Marc Marquez, and now having cleared Marc Marquez, he might just be able to keep Raul Fernandez at bay. There's your confirmation. With Acosta now ahead of Marc Marquez, he would still have a 1-point lead.
This is the battle at the bottom end of the top 10. It's Brad Binder versus Ayagura. It's Binder at the moment that is in 10th place.
Not anymore, he's not.
No, he's not. Into turn 4 goes Agura. That move was coming on the last lap. Agura was 0.3 quicker than the South African.
Yeah, how far could Agura get? Because we know if the bike he's on is plenty fast enough, because they're 1st, 2nd and 5th at the moment in the Grand Prix. So Agura now 10th. He's got around half a second to catch up to Bagnaia, assuming that Brad Binder doesn't launch a counter-attack. Then you can see right up ahead, Alex Marquez, Joan Mir and Fabio Di Gianantonio. That's pretty much the cue that Ayagura is trying to pick his way up. So if he can make some late moves and hold his tyre in, then a potential top 6 not out of the question yet for Agura.
Yeah, he's much faster than Bagnaia, Alex, Mir, Di Gianantonio ahead of him. You've got to go up to Jorge Martin for the next ride that's offering better pace at the moment than Agura-san. 3 seconds then now is the lead at Fort Bezzecchi. It has been an emphatic response to what was a roller coaster Saturday yesterday. A crash in FP2, even though the fact he did set the best time. A crash in qualifying, even though he was on pole position. And then he was leading the sprint. He crashed out of contention. But Marco Bezzecchi, well, this is some response. 3 seconds clear of Raul Fernandez now. Di Gianantonio, who has never really figured in the podium battle at all. He's been a bit of a letdown, hasn't he, to be fair, did you, in this Grand Prix so far? And not a given he's going to cling on to the top 6 here, because Joan Mir on the factory Honda piling the pressure on behind him on that last lap. Yeah, Di Gianantonio's dropped into the 32s. He's the only rider in the top 7 that's faded into those 132s. Have to say, expected much more from the Italian in this Grand Prix.
Yeah, and you can see how difficult he was finding it to get it stopped. This is Agura versus Bagnaia. So Ayagura now up into 9th place. His charge up the order. He's left it a little late, but it is now coming. And Ayagura now up into 9th place. And you have to say further up the road, if Mir can clear Di Gianantonio, given where they generally qualified and the fact that they've probably got the 4th fastest bike here this weekend, if Mir can secure a top 6 for Honda, they'll be very pleased with that.
Yeah, I think they acknowledged pre-Grand Prix that there's been steps forward on the Honda RC213V, but they are still crippled a little bit by some wheel spin issues, not quite getting the optimal drive grip on gas, and of course around this Buriram circuit where you really can burn up and chew up your rear tyre in the long car acceleration zones. Well, wheel spin is a key factor, so this has been a stellar job so far by Mir.
I think Raul Fernandez has made a mistake on this lap because he's lost 0.3 of a second in the second sector somewhere to Acosta and Marc Marquez. His advantage was 1.5, it's now 1.2. Gian Antonio's advantage over Joan Mir is absolutely nothing, and the 2020 world champion is now into the top 6.
That's been coming, that has been coming. Mir says thank you very much. Back in the 32s, everybody, man and machine right now, screaming for mercy, aren't they? Bezzecchi, Fernandez, Acosta and Marc are the only 4 riders now that are able to keep themselves anywhere near the 131s. Fair play to Bez, Acosta and Marc. 131.2s, 131.3s. Quickest rider on circuit at the moment is Acosta. As Iagura then now is going to have the inside line on Alex Marquez into that turn 3, picks up the runner-up in both the sprint and the Grand Prix here last year. This has been a bit of a forgettable introduction to life as a factory Ducati rider. What's happened here? Marc Marquez has run wide going into turn 4. He's got a problem.
He's got a puncture.
He's got a puncture. Marc Marquez. Well, that could have really been disastrous. Wow. Pecco Bagnaia. The tyres come off the rim. Remember Pecco Bagnaia had the puncture in Malaysia? Wow, Marc Marquez then, who just set a 131.4. What on earth? That is a catastrophic failure there. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Marc Marquez's Michelin rear tyre has come off the rim here. I mean, he's lucky there that he didn't get chucked off that. That is so fortunate, because that could have been horrendous. Marc could have been thrown off that factory Ducati.
It's a fucking Bronco,
He's looking down there now going, what the heck has gone on here?
Yeah, look at the damage to the rim there. We're seeing it from the slow mo. Look at that. The rim is damaged, and obviously the tyre is just completely dominated, come off the rim altogether. Marc Marquez is out of the Thai Grand Prix, and he will not be standing on the podium today, and Ducati's podium streak is surely at an end.
Never seen anything like that. In more than one place, there were huge dents in the rim on Marc Marquez's factory Ducati. I mean, there's nothing he could have hit on circuit there that's going to cause that kind of damage. What on earth has gone on there for Marc Marquez?
Yeah, there were some big questions asked of Ducati at the end as to what happened there, whether it's something down to the extreme heat here or whether he has caught some debris somewhere. As it is then, we've got a 2-rider fight, and it's released a little bit of pressure off Raul Fernandez. A podium's now not under threat, but second place still very much is.
That's cruel in the extreme. Rotten luck for Marc, but good luck as well. I mean, that could have been a nightmare.
He took out Acosta as well.
He went through turn 4 there. It's the third gear.
Alex Marquez is now dropping down our screens. Alex Marquez, I think, is now dropping out of this Grand Prix. You can see his name tumbling down as we watch the battle for second place. Alex Marquez has crashed, so we've lost the 2 Marquez brothers in consecutive laps here.
On that run down to that turn 4, Marc's motoring at about 200 kilometers an hour when he tips in. And then to have that catastrophic failure on the rear of that Ducati, there's going to be a major inquest, isn't there, conducted by Ducati long into the evening and beyond here in Buriram, because never seen anything quite like that. You could clearly see there was massive damage to more than one part of that rim.
Yeah, Alex Marquez is down at turn 4. He is also out of this Grand Prix. Bezzecchi leads from Raul Fernandez and Pedro Acosta. Martin 4th for Aprilia. The first Ducati is Fabio Di Gianantonio. Matt, he's 14 seconds off the race lead.
Unbelievable. Here comes Acosta, then he's coming from a long way back on Raul Fernandez. This has been coming. Fernandez thought about just darting back to the inside line. I think already there you can see Raul was having a long look over his right shoulder just to see if there's any competition emerging behind me. He has another look at a big screen there as well. Look at that, Acosta just gaps him immediately. He's clinging on for dear life at the moment, isn't he, Raul Fernandez?
Yeah, he'll just be settling now for that 3rd place and hoping that he's got enough of a cushion. 4.6 seconds over Jorge Martin. Yeah, that was Alex Marquez losing it into turn 4. So what a rotten Sunday this has been for the Marquez brothers. Oh, now Mir's slowing down.
Now, apparently he's got a tyre problem. We're hearing in our ears that there's a tyre problem as well for Joan Mir. This tight Grand Prix, we said pre-race, is taking place in some of the most demanding conditions of the entire season. Apparently Mir's had an issue with the rear tyre as well.
Yeah, it's definitely not deflated completely, is it? Because he's not running along the floor like a bucking bronco. This is Gian Antonio and Agura. Agura could get 5th place here in the Grand Prix. We could have 4 Aprilias in the top 5.
Ralph Fernandez just is praying to see the checkered flag. The longest 26 laps of his life, no doubt about that.
I think they're all praying for the checkered flag here. We've got Agura 5th, Digia 6th, Binder and Bagnaia 7th and 8th. Out of Morbidelli and Marini, Zarco, Bastianini, Moreira, Quartararo will score a couple of points for Yamaha. Look at the centre of that rear tyre for Marco Bezzecchi. That doesn't look in particularly great shape either, but he has half a lap still to go.
Michelin said pre-race that this Buriram circuit is brutal. Long acceleration zones. Yeah, you can see clearly there's significant wear, isn't there, on the middle of Marco Bezzecchi's slick rear tyre.
Look at that.
I mean, I don't think Marco Bezzecchi...
It's glad this isn't 27 laps.
I was going to say, that's going to feel like a pogo stick underneath him right now. He's barely at full throttle. He's barely at any kind of throttle. No lean angle through 11. Thankfully, Marco Bezzecchi can tour here into the final corner because he's got no rear tyre left whatsoever. But Marco Bezzecchi bounces back quite brilliantly in Buriram. After all the disappointments of crashing out the lead in the sprint from pole position, he does create history. Marco Bezzecchi, the first Aprilia rider in MotoGP to win 3 successive Grand Prix. Pedro Acosta caps off a stunning first Grand Prix weekend of the season for the Spaniard and KTM, the winner of the sprint, second in the Grand Prix, and somehow, having set the best time in this morning's warm-up session, Ralph Fernandez does nurse himself back to the checkered flag in 3rd place. A long way back at the end. 2 Aprilias, though, on the podium.
Bez bounces back in fine fashion for victory in Thailand ahead of Pedro Acosta. Raul Fernandez hangs on to the final podium place ahead of Jorge Martin and Agura. 4 Aprilias in the top 5. Gian Antonio 6th, Binder 7th, Morbidelli 8th, Bagnaia Marini inside the top 10.